Hello, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm born to be bad, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another week of Bloodhaus. I had to do that. That song's too fucking good.
Today we are joined by a very special guest to talk about a very special movie. We are here with filmmaker Owen Kline.
That sounds like something's wrong with me.
What do you mean?
Special, very special.
Do you want to be a member of the Very Special People Club?
It's a special guest talking about a very special movie.
Yes.
Very special movie. It is giving welcome
With
to the
some
Dollhouse
very special
Club.
characters. Salminio's sister.
Yeah.
Hey, I like her. She's nice.
She's great.
Nice.
She gave me a ball.
She's named after my dog,
She's the one
Edie.
person I haven't really pinned down yet in just kind of trying to figure out the story behind this movie, which I've been trying to figure out since I was very young.
Yeah.
I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Her contact, really.
Yeah.
Margot
Bennett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, Owen, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I just watched your movie, Funny Pages. I loved it so much.
Oh, thank you.
Really terrific. I am a former playwright. I lived in New York for many years. It felt like a homecoming to see all those New York theater actors like Matt Mayer and Maria Dizia and Stephen Adly Gurgis. I also have to say I'm a really big fan of your sister's music. I hope that's not too inappropriate to say, but I thought of it because many years ago when I still lived in New York, I was at Desert Island Comics in Williamsburg, and they were playing a record. And I was like, what is this? It's so good. And they're like, oh, it's this artist, Frankie Cosmos. And I was like, oh, wow. And so I thought of that during the movie because it's all about comic books. And I was like, oh, that's this filmmaker's sister. And I discovered her in a comic book store.
Was it? It was the younger guy that works there that would have been playing that.
I mean, it was so many years ago. It was probably like 20.
It's a great store. I was there day one when they opened. It was a huge deal that a store could. There was a store called Rocket Ship before it, but Rocket Ship was a little more diverse in terms of there was superhero stuff. This store was kind of exclusively independent comics. Still is. They just moved locations down the block, but it's a great institution.
Yeah,
there isn't anything like it, besides it.
Yeah, I loved that store. I was writing a graphic novel at the time for First Second that never came out. Thank God. But I was trying to get more into indie comics.
That you were working with? Or?
Yeah, I did have an artist, and I won't say her name because the book never came out, and it's probably for the best because it would be super dated now. And I don't know, I just went through so many editors over so many years. I would turn in a draft, and then a year later I would get notes, and then I would turn in another draft.
Was it about Occupy Wall Street or something? What was it about?
It was a teen book, but it was just written in 2008.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it was based on a play that I wrote in 2008, and cool. It just felt like I don't know, it just feels dated now.
It was about the moment in some way.
It was about the moment. It just feels dated now. I'm kind of glad that it didn't come out.
Okay, but now we're almost 20 years shy of that, which is, first of all, depressing for me to think. But also, now that's niche, that's throwback.
It's almost vintage. It's about teen witches too, so it might be vintage. So I don't know.
I don't think we're fetishizing the 2008 housing crisis the way that we fetishized 1988 for 40 years.
Yeah,
but I don't know, maybe.
Anyway, Funny Pages. So
Funny Pages fucking rules, and I will be on this fucking soapbox for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
it's fucking great. Not enough people goddamn saw it, and it made me mad.
Well, now it's playing at New Beverly, so another, I don't know how many asses that theater houses, but they're playing it 2 nights with
Friendship
on the print with Friendship. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Really? That's a great double feature.
And that movie's really funny, I thought.
That movie's hilarious. That's a perfect double bill. And I've texted a bunch of friends about that. I'm like, they're showing Friendship on 35, which is crazy, at New Bev. Get your ass down there. And the B picture's Funny Pages. And I've had so many people be like, wait, Funny Pages is A24? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, how have I never heard of this? And I was like, are you living under a rock?
Well, your poster is amazing.
Thank you.
It's fun to be the underdog, honestly. I knew what we were making when we were making it, you know? And we got in really early with A24. Like, they were just, they had just got nominated for Moonlight, and it was a total shift from distribution going into production. And so they were just excited about it. And it's, you know, by the time it came out, it's a much smaller kind of movie for them. You know, they kind of like cut their teeth, just, you know, producing these genre movies. But, you know, it's more in the Who Killed Teddy Bear genre camp, I would say.
Yeah.
And it was also, I mean, like Teddy Bear as a kid, when I was just like a hungry teenage film fan combing through old, you know, Psychotronic video guides and you know, incredibly strange movies and all that stuff, you know, the cult movies books, you know, like stumbling upon my grandfather, who I had lost a few years before, and finding that he had done what to me was the ultimate cult object, the ultimate sort of like video store forgotten relic. It was like, oh, this is the ultimate cult movie in a way. And I like that it, you know, it certainly wears its sort of unseemly nature on its sleeve. And so that was informative to making, you know, Funny Pages, but also just like truly just sort of like the center character is sort of being preyed upon. In this case, the young cartoonist, it's like sort of being preyed upon even by, you know, instead of Jan Murray, the detective, the people that are supposed to protect you, like the public defender is pretty handsy with the kid. Like everybody's just a little bit off. And
even the teacher is like,
adults. It's the untamed world of adults.
Yeah.
Really, it's like how, and that's what I love about Who Killed Teddy Bear. It's like a great crime movie where, you know, I feel like the best, you know, gangster movies or crime movies in general, you know, and this goes like internationally speaking, the entire world and underworld that it takes you into, like nobody is innocent. It has that thing, but instead of being about, you know, this criminal nature, it's a sort of this perversion nature. That's what makes it like a neo-noir, if people want to label it that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has shades of that, very much so. And I like how much that idea of like the world is perverse and all of these people are perverse freaks, like deeply leans into the DNA of Funny Pages. When I was working at the agency I was working at when that project came up, literally, like, the agency also cut the trailers for the film too. And the trailer people always get the titles first, and they always get started on projects first. And they were like downstairs and we were upstairs. And literally one day, our music supervisor like ran upstairs to me and was like, there is a movie we are working on that you have to watch and you have to work on because it's like giving John Waters pervert energy and you are going to love this thing. And I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. And the moment that it started, I was into it, but specifically the like men who live in the basement is one of the most like, so that was exactly my early 20s in the worst way.
Yeah, it's a heightened version of the first apartment you've lived in. Usually it's the first apartment for a lot of people.
Well, and as someone,
the first apartment when you're on your own, like you want something dicey, you know?
Yeah.
You're willing to accept, and you like choose to accept the worst. But on top of that, too, like as someone, I don't know about you, but like
this will be an adventure, and it's way premature, you know?
Right? I also kind of like, you know, when I was younger, I would lie about my age.
So you're just whatever's the first thing in reach, you know?
Yeah,
that's the you know, that's the heightened metaphor of it. Yeah,
the movie I thought of the most watching this was Ghost World, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I love that movie. Although it struck me as kinder than Ghost World. It's similar in the way that you cast it. You know, you sort of like casting these like I don't want to be mean, but like kind of aggressively banal looking people, or like more than banal looking people, and like sort of the line delivery and the dialogue delivery. But I think Ghost World has more antipathy towards these people than you seem to. You know what I mean? It's having a little bit more.
The main character is drawn to these people and loves these people, and I feel like Enid. I mean, the movie is much tamer than the comic in terms of just the pure piss and vinegar bile that Enid spits at these people. And just how there are some really despicable characters in the comic, so that's more of a, I don't know, but she's also a cartoonist now that it occurs to me, but not as much. It's not the emphasis of the comic. I've honestly,
it's less the drive.
I love the movie too, and Terry's a friend, but I've read the comic more than I've seen the movie.
It's like one of my favorite movies. I've read the comic too, and I have it, but like tonally, they feel like in the same lineage to me. And
they're about different things. The movie's about like Enid as a loner. The comic is about these two friends and the slipping away of and disintegration of a kind of like the kind of secret world of girls, the secret friendships, the secret world of a best friend, and that disintegration.
Yeah,
I love that comic so goddamn much.
Yeah,
I do see that Daniel just did the poster for the Telluride Festival too.
Oh, that was great.
It's so fucking gorgeous. He's the whenever amazing. Anyone is smart enough to get Daniel Clowes to do art for a movie or any movie related thing, I get so amped up. I remember when those like Sam Fuller covers that he did for Criterion dropped years ago, I lost my goddamn mind because of course Naked Kiss is a fucking Daniel Clowes piece.
When I was a teenager, he designed a soda called OK Soda.
OK Soda, yeah.
Which we had an OK Soda machine in my middle school in Washington State. There was only a few test markets, and Seattle was one of them. I grew up in the Seattle area.
Certainly Seattle, certainly Seattle because it's I mean, that's the graphics.
And there was like a phone number, 1-800 I feel okay. And so we would call that from the payphone and be like, here are 30 seconds of bird calls or whatever.
See, I don't want I saw the TV Glow Fruitopia machine. I want that.
Yeah.
Who is I wonder who the like executive at Coca-Cola was that was reading 8-Ball,
Yeah, somebody. I mean, it was like such only in the 90s kind of moment. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Owen, have you been watching anything cool that you want to talk about besides your grandfather's movie that we're going to talk about at length?
I've been pretty erratic with my watches. Like I haven't been as focused in terms of, because I'm writing 2 things right now, so I'm watching things related to the subjects. So it's been less of like that, I'm going to watch every Andre Toth movie. I think of him right now just because I'm going to go see Play Dirty later at Moment, which is going to be really fun.
That's cool.
Of it. And what did I watch recently? I'm trying to think. The last thing I watched was or one of the last things I watched was The Public Enemy again.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had seen Angels with Dirty Faces again recently, and I just wanted to see The Public Enemy. It's great, and I love the whole shooting gallery of freaks in that movie. Of just
oh my god, the casting in those movies are so good.
Murray Kinnell or Cannell or what his name is, as Putty Nose, and all that was missing was like Ned Sparks or something. But like it's such a good shooting gallery of people in that one, and I don't know. That's a pretty great contender for the best of the gangster movies, the Warner Brothers movies.
I know people always cite Roaring Twenties as being like the one, but it seems so like late, and it seems so like disconnected and commenting on the genre rather than being a part of the genre. I think Public Enemy is
too late. Exactly. Like a thing is is defined by its first couple of years before it really becomes a trend, and it's still finding its
before there's like a unified language. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we talk about that a lot with like giallo movies and slashers here. And it's like, it's the exact same way with the gangster genre. And even with like the film noir genre, which like, I know a lot of people want to make statements about like Blast of Silence, which is amazing and is a very teddy bear-esque noir. But like,
it's like, a very low budget.
The true period is a certain
film thing that's going on with that. And, you know, with Blast of Silence in particular, you know, and that was one that, like, when did they put it out on Criterion? Because it was like, I had rented
like 08, I want to say.
Yeah, I rented from a video store, and it was like a, I still have it was like a teal bootleg, you know, Xerox cover. And it was more just, it felt like more of a discovery. And then Criterion put it out, and it was like, oh, well, this fits into the whole Sam Fuller thing. And that movie has great New York stuff. I mean, particularly just seeing the old Bowery and everything. But like, you know, Public Enemy is 31. It's Wellman, you know, it's right. It's, you know, there's just only a couple of.
Yeah. If you haven't and you love Public Enemy, I will say, search out those Joseph von Sternberg's, like Underworld.
Underworld.
Dogs of New York, like those really kick it off. But I mean, to your point, like
that was what I was really bummed to miss. They played a print of Blonde Venus the other night, which is maybe the best, at least the best Marlene von Sternberg.
I caught that the first time I ever saw that was on a nitrate print at the New Bev a few years ago, which was presented as a B picture to Only Angels Have Wings, which is like a psychotic Cary Grant melodrama double. Wow. But it's absolutely masterful.
I've never seen Only Angels Have Wings.
What about you, Josh? What have you been up to? What have you been watching?
I went to my best friend's birthday, and he always has a screening at the Sugarmint Gallery in Pasadena, which is right next door to Michael Myers' house in South Pass.
And, that's right. Of course, okay, man. There's like a real film. There's some real interesting film history in Indiana.
Yeah. And so this year he chose to screen the sleazy Spanish giallo Pieces, which I hadn't seen in about 20 years. What a delight that is.
I've never seen Pieces. Who did it?
You're going to get mad at me because I've also never seen Pieces, just by the fact that I own it.
Oh my God. Wait,
it's Juan, who the fuck made Pieces?
Pieces.
82.
I can't remember who directed it.
Juan Piquer Simon.
Yeah.
Who also made, and I hate to say this, Slugs. I've seen Slugs, but I haven't seen Pieces. And of course, Supersonic Man. Who could forget?
I know Slugs. I've never seen Slugs.
Slugs you can miss. But
Slugs
Pieces,
you can miss, but it's fun.
It is fun. Pieces is more fun. It is so sleazy.
That's a science fiction movie.
Pieces is so sleazy. It's so gory. It's so boobalicious. But it's set at an American university, so there's constant like Coca-Cola cans and stuff like that. But it's obviously filmed in Spain because there's like beautiful Mediterranean architecture on this American university campus. Beautiful Spanish tile everywhere. The tagline is, "You don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre because the killer is killing people with a chainsaw."
It also has my favorite. It has two taglines. That's one of both of them are my favorite taglines ever. It's "You don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre," and the other one is "It's exactly what you think it is," which is so good.
It looks like the writer and producer Dick Randall wrote a bunch of the Bruce Lee movies.
That's cool.
The fake Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Bruce Lee. Yeah,
Bruce Lee.
There is also a random kung fu scene in this movie that's pretty racist.
Well, there you go. Isn't it great when someone has their like genre signatures across multiple genres, and then they get to fuse it. It's like, okay, this is a giallo. There's a little martial arts because I know how to write.
There's like a random kung fu scene, and then they're like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's my kung fu teacher."
Slashers,
and then the kung fu teacher says, "Oh, I must have had some bad chop suey," and then that's the first and last you ever see of this kung fu teacher.
Wonderful.
That's some Inspector Clouseau shit. Like, not now, Kato.
It is a really fun movie. People were howling. It's a crowd pleaser. It's it's truly sleazy and offensive. So it's not for all tastes, but for this crowd, it worked really well.
Now, this is how AIP fluent we just were. This crowd I'm in right now is before we were recording this podcast. Dear listeners, I'm talking to the listeners now.
Yeah,
you guys
feel free.
But we were talking about Dr. Goldfoot.
Yeah, and
that wasn't
Beach
on
Party
mic.
movies.
I just want to. I'm getting. Once we start getting jumbled here, that wasn't on mic. That was pre. And yes, Art Clokey, the Gumby visionary, claymation artist, did the title sequence to that movie. To the Supremes.
Oh, God, I forgot it's the Supremes.
Yeah.
They do the title song. I mean, it's no Who Killed Teddy Bear, but it's, the title.
No.
Let's face it, Who Killed Teddy Bear is a total Goldfinger, like, knockoff, the song.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it's better.
I love it.
I think it's
total
better.
Like Burt Bacharach.
I was telling Josh before he got on, again, we'll get more into it in a second, but I've been listening to the soundtrack on YouTube all week because it's so good. And it took me like a day into listening it to look that Born to Be Bad was uploaded by you. And I was like, oh, God damn it. Of course.
Yeah, two speeds. Because the 45, like that's the lobby. They actually were giving out, it was a promo for the film.
The 45. Oh.
So in the lobby of the theater, you could grab, one side was Who Killed Teddy Bear, the theme, and the other side was Born to Be Bad. Yeah.
Can we get a repress of that? Like, holy shit.
I've been trying
that song
to
is so
do it.
good.
We almost did it a couple when I worked at Norton Records a long time ago, and we still talk about that, but I've been talking about it. We've been talking about it again, and I wanted to get it in tune with with the release of the Blu-ray, but it's this thing that's like, it's been 15 years of my life being like, we're gonna do it. Not the right time, but yeah, it's perfect. And we need to get Toothbrush and Comb on there. That's the underrated one for three. And what's funny about this movie is it crosses over to, like, it's not just exploitation people that adore this movie. It's not just the huge gay audience and LGBT audience that enjoys this movie. But like the bubblegum pop kind of world.
Oh, yeah.
People who love early 60s
like
pop record
kind of stuff,
whether it's West Coast Spectre or the East Coast Spectres, practically these guys who were banging out the music here. Charlie Colello, who was like this major arranger in New York, did the Name Game and did all of the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons records, like arranged, produced, and conducted those. And all the guys behind the score, Al Kasha and Bob Gaudio, who all this really amazing was Bob Crew and a couple of those other guys from that little like producing circle, but they did all the music. So it's like that was like the brains, the major, besides Bob Crew and this other guy, like the brains of the Four Seasons sound. So they have that sound, that banging, like really tight, loud drums on all the songs that are mixed just as loud as the rest of it. So it's like the Discotheque records are those guys, and then Colello, who was the arranger, did the sort of like score proper, not just
all those songs are so like amazing, and those kinds of records are so collectible and in vogue. Like, I'm so obsessed with them.
Oh yeah, they did some great girl group records. In fact, Colello has. I love these records by the Ragdolls he did. Like, there's an answer record to Dawn, in that era of like answer records where it was just like they did. Instead of Dawn by the Four Seasons, it's by the Ragdolls. Ragdoll being a Four Seasons song. It's like a falsetto girl group record called Dusty. it's like a response to Dawn. Go away, I'm no good for you. And Dusty, I have to recommend By the Rag Dolls. Of that, if you like that, it's like the girl group fans love these records. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love them. I had this incredible box set that is called oh God, what was it called?
Yeah,
it was by
the shoebox. The shoebox.
Yeah, it came in a hat box. And
That's
it was
awesome.
like 8 CDs or more probably. And each CD was inside like a little compact. And it had really obscure songs. There's a song called there's a
girl
song
group
by the
sounds that one kiss can lead to another box, right?
Yes, one kiss leads to another.
Girl group sounds lost and found. Is that what it's called?
Yes, it's so
Great
good.
Set. Yeah.
There's a song by a band called the White Boots, WHYTE, and it's about beating a girl to death at school. It's so good.
There's the pregnancy ones. There's the fake. Yeah. There's like a million sound likes and fake versions of the Shangri-Las. There's a million fake leader of the pack records of the bad boy that's no good for you, but you stay with him and he dies. Potentially wipes out on his motorcycle.
So many songs about people dying in car accidents.
Yeah, there's the fake Leslie.
It was the time
song.
They didn't have seatbelts.
War songs is its own world in itself.
Drusilla, what have you been watching? Anything cool?
So literally, I put on Teddy Bear a few days ago. I had a day off. I had a long weekend, and I haven't had a fucking break in months. It's been like nonstop work. And so getting a long weekend to like sit down and watch movies has been a godsend. And I started with Teddy Bear to like start my day. I put it on at like 10 a.m. It was a great way to start the day. And then I was like, I want to put on something right after. I loved it so much. I wanted to keep the energy going. I wanted to keep the party going. And I pulled off another Blu-ray from my shelf that I hadn't watched yet. And I was like, this is a decade later, but it's only a few years. And it's another like sleazy underground, like girl alone in a like big city town surrounded by pervs and weirdos movie. And so I finally put on Paul Bartel's feature debut, Private Parts.
Oh, yeah.
Which I assume Owen you've seen.
I mean, Paul Bartel across the board.
Him and Mary Warrenoff together, it's like peanut butter and chocolate.
I grew up on eating Raoul, but then additionally, like, of course, love them in Chopping Mall and in Rock and Roll High School.
Cannonball,
Cannonball was the first Paul Bartel movie I ever saw.
I have a beautiful 16 print of it. It's missing the titles, but it's great.
I love Cannonball, and I bring it up to people all the time, and they're like, Cannonball Run? And I'm like, no, David Carradine. Roger Corman Cannonball. I don't know how, but my dad would show it to me. I don't know how he knew it other than he's a big car guy. And I'm obsessed with that movie. I helped our friend Matt screen it on VHS at the Vista Video Archives Club.
It's
not too long ago.
It's really interesting. So I did this project with Dick Blackburn a little while ago. He's in New York. We recorded his radio play, and he wrote Eating Raoul.
Yeah,
it was his story. It was his idea for the film. And we watched my print a Carquake, and he knew everyone in the movie because he was like hanging around in LA at that time, and that was like all the people that they were making movies with,
right?
Bill McKinney and Dave Carradine and the movie that he directed, what movie Dick Blackburn directed that is his own, the only movie he ever directed its own title is Lamora.
I don't know that movie.
You'd freak out at this movie. Lamora, really? A Child's Tale of the Supernatural. It's like a Southern Gothic acid trip.
I know Lamora.
It is.
It just got a Blu-ray again recently.
It's a real piece of artsploitation. 73.
Yeah.
Synapse put it out, and I think now maybe there's even a Blu-ray of it. Looks like it's available on Tubi too. So yes,
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah, I know that tagline.
This
It's not. Tubi really has that psych out where they go, oh my god, it's on Tubi. Oh wait till it comes available or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
But the restoration of it is astonishing, and it's Rainbow Smith as the lead of the Runaways. And
oh my god,
yeah, it's really something. She's in Caged Heat. Cool. She's great in Caged Heat. And what else is she in? She's in some other good movies.
Oh my god, he also wrote Amy Heckerling's Loser.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Wow.
Which feels like a very Josh movie.
I love that movie.
I've got to see Lamora. That sounds fucking great.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds like 85 minutes of fun. Private Parts.
Who wrote Loser? Who wrote Loser?
Yeah. Richard Blackburn. Dick Blackburn.
No, definitely a different Loser. I like Loser, but what's the one?
I mean, this says it's written by him.
Let me see. Really?
Yeah.
Loser. I don't know where you're going.
Oh, sorry, he's an actor in it, rather.
Oh, he's in it?
He's in it, yeah.
Oh my god, I gotta ask him about that. I did not know that. You know what's really funny is he did the voice of Dr. Zaius in Return to the Planet of the Apes. He had this whole period in the 70s when he's living in France, he's told me about, where he was doing Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, cool.
He did like a lot of villains in Scooby-Doo that if it weren't for you pesky kids.
Yeah.
He did a lot of those villains and things. He did voices on Captain Caveman and all this garbage. But he did Return to the Planet of the Apes. They asked him to be Dr. Zaius in it. And for the Saturday morning cartoon of Planet of the Apes, they didn't want Zaius to be British. They just thought that would be confusing to kids that there was a British ape in a children's version. So he doesn't.
Oh
my god! My friend was at the end of her life. He was a lifelong Susan Tyrrell fan, and he became friends with her over the phone, and they would have like hours.
She seemed very accessible in her
very accessible.
Yeah.
Like a very weird woman, but she was
footage of her on the public domain. I'm sorry, it's the public access show. My brain just fried.
What's that?
There's footage of her on a public access show in the 80s dancing to No Tex record with like the host.
Yeah. She's like a super weird woman. But she did the voice of the villainess in the Chipmunk Adventure movie, and he asked her about it, and she was like, "What's a chipmunk?" She had like no memory of doing it whatsoever.
I feel like if you talk to her at that point, she'd be like, Fat City was the best. And you're like, okay, but what about anything else? And she'd be like, Fat City was the best.
Yeah,
well,
and
actually,
you're like, but Forbidden Zone.
She really loved Forbidden Zone, actually.
She did love
Forbidden
Zone,
She was really proud of that.
Well, also don't forget, Bad.
Yeah, the Paul Morrissey films, like, yeah.
Well, that one, that was, people always forget, Bad was Warhol's boyfriend. It wasn't Paul Morrissey. It's it's sort of like more of a fake John Waters to me. I like the movie, okay, but it's not my favorite of all that period of. I mean, the best 80s. The 80s Paul Morrissey movies is better than anything in the 80s Warhol did. I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
And now they're both Vinegar Syndrome and Fun City are re-releasing. So they're playing. So I've been booking.
Yeah, Mixed Blood is coming out. I know.
I've had for like 15 years. I've had a print of Spike of Bensonhurst, and it's definitely the best. Now that there's a print that's from the negative, but it's the best original theatrical print that's out there. So I've been booking it all over the place.
That's
but that one is my favorite, and that's Ernest Borgnine is in it, and it's really a hilarious movie.
I always felt like the most underrated, like Paul Morrissey Warhol girl was Jackie Curtis, who was so
I love
funny.
Jackie Curtis.
And I mean, Women in Revolt is like the most watchable of those movies. It's so funny. She's so funny in it. She's basically like Bette Midler.
You're right. Well, that's the most palatable, dare I say, commercial movie that he ever made, probably.
And it's insane that like that's the one that's like one of the least accessible these days. I mean,
my copy is
Candy Darling is the most beautiful of the girls, probably. She's the model of the bunch, right?
Yeah.
But Jackie Curtis is so funny.
She's such a bitch. Like,
Holy Woodlawn in that movie.
I have all of those movies on tape, but I really need Severin or someone to finally track down the rights and the prints.
I'm trying to remember who did I think I have it right here. I think like
Image or someone like that did Women in Revolt on DVD years ago, but
mine's a boot.
And Flesh and Heat and all of those.
Someone did them because I got them from Netflix in the 2000s. That's how I saw them also. At some point they were available.
Is that a boot? That's cool.
This is
the pink case.
It's I can't remember who I got. It's very much a bootleg. I love it too. Yeah, and it's also been billed as just women. Did you know that?
Yes, it has been billed as women, and I think it was them trying to riff off of like The Women or like the adding in Revolt adds a bit more of like an underground exploitation element to it, that if you just call it Women, it could be seen as like a soft, like maybe it's erotic, maybe as soon as you say Revolt it's like, oh, I can't jerk off to this.
But you know, there's this one L'Amour
you can
there's one called L'Amour that's really funny that they just Liz just unveiled at Anthology recently, and Vinegar Syndrome is doing it. That one's that's the earliest, like, you know, of that kind of movie that, you know, where it's Paul Morrissey and Warhol directed it. I think it's like 70. No, wait. Maybe it's right after Women in Revolt. Women in Revolt's like 71. It's like surprisingly
71.
early. Yeah.
71, which was like the year. Like for so many goddamn movies.
But like my favorite of that era probably is Trash. But then later it's like, I love Madame Wang's. Madame Wang's is fucking hysterical.
Oh, I still need to see
that's
that.
true. That's a great movie.
You're gonna freak out. But they're doing a Blu-ray of it. Fuck, in a couple days they're playing it at Metrograph. They're like unveiling this new print of it, and but Mixed Blood is great. I mean, 40 Deuce is amazing to me.
I'm so glad these are finally getting like releases. Good fucking really God.
Funny about these movies is Paul Morrissey didn't like the John Waters movies. They feel like almost not reactionary, but like,
well, he was reactionary. So
in a Women in Revolt, in a revolt against the John Waters satires in some way, because they are satires in terms of especially Spike of Bensonhurst, because it's this like Brooklyn kid from lower class, like working class family that's like wants to date the popular girl who is Ernest Borgnine's daughter. Ernest Borgnine is like a completely sleazy local politician who has ties to all sorts of crap. And there's a hilarious scene in that movie where he is trying to set Spike straight and get him straight with a job so that maybe he could date his daughter. And he's like gets him bootlegging like cartoons and porno. And you just see like all these VCRs stacked in the back of some creepy, office. And, he's trying to set the kid on the right path by getting and like, but like just like all the morals and like what the goal is for the story that you're supposed to be invested in is just completely like wrong and flipped on its head. It's really
I'm so
fun.
Excited for Fun City to get that back out.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Speaking of getting on the right path with porno and sleaze,
we have bantered too long. Let us not tarry any further. Today we were discussing a gem from 1965, directed by Owen's grandpa, Joseph Cates. It is Who Killed Teddy Bear?
Long were his eyes, now they run cold. That's why my cries can't be controlled. He wasn't just another toy you love
I didn't know this movie. Drusilla owned a disc but hadn't watched it yet.
It's been on my radar for years and years.
I just heard of this from Izzy from Be Kind Rewind a couple of weeks ago. Boy, I loved this. I just absolutely loved this. I ate it up. Owen, I guess I don't know where to start. I mean, your grandpa passed when you were pretty little,
7,
right?
7, but very
7.
influential figure to me, and had I didn't really understand his career at that time in television. He had this illustrious career in television, but I only learned when I was 14 or something that he did this string of these low budget independent New York quickies,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your question though? When he
passed, wondering what you remembered of him, if anything. And I guess your parents at that time. Your parents' careers must have seemed much more present than his, I suppose.
Yeah, but he was a few years before that. He was producing the Oscars and the Emmys. But he was there in. I mean, before I get into his history, as my own history with my grandfather was just he gave me my first magic tricks and got me into got me a little, kid's cane and made me come out over and over and do Singing in the Rain, and announce me coming out of the door. He was just very old show business and obsessed with that old showmanship kind of thing. And was, he would play Shuffle Off to Buffalo on the ukulele and stuff. But he was his interests were diverse. And, I share and have adopted. I was just loved country western music, produced a ton of country western specials and variety shows, and the Johnny Cash show. Johnny Cash called him the other JC, Joseph Cates.
Yeah.
Johnny
Cute.
Cash, and we have one of his Martin guitars with in the pick case. He gave it to my grandfather. In the pick case is a gigantic syringe that was left behind. That's a great family heirloom, I guess. And then, but yeah, loved country western, loved the circus, and at the time, specifically the foreign circus at the time. So he set up. At the beginning of, he had done all this variety television. He was there in 1947, at the very beginning of television, and had studied on the GI Bill directing, and just fell into it as a way to advertise candy. So that he knew you can use a product to get things made and do these independent specials that he owned. He really kept the special a staple of television through the 60s and 70s and 50s even. But
I mean, he produced and even directed some of the best Steve Martin specials, and the Alan King specials,
all the first 3 Steve Martin specials, Alan King, Robert Kline eventually. But he also he created the first game shows. He co-created the $64,000 Question, all of the rigging of that show, and that's really But he did the Jackie Gleason show where he had designed and came up with the Honeymooners set. Cast Art Carney. Originally, Elaine Stritch was Trixie in that in the sketches.
Wow.
Elaine Stritch, and designed that preliminary set from the sketches of the Honeymooners, based on his cold water flat he grew up in the Bronx. Of course, in the show it's Bensonhurst, but so the primordial TV set. But so he said. But the thing is, early 50s with the $64,000 Question, he set up and came up with all these gimmicks and devices for the show. The machine that shuffles down 1,000 cards that picks one, and it's the $64,000 Question. That card, it was had everything. It had every card had the same thing printed on it. It was the same question. Devices that these gimmicks that were these presentational things. You know, the big money question would be in a safety deposit box, and he had the idea of 2 guards with guns would be on either side, like protecting. Just the things that eventually, once he left the show, you know, because it's not reality, they rigged it and they created these presentations for television that became, you know, as chronicled in the Robert Redford movie, right? But so in 59, around then that happened, and then he had trouble in television, which was where he had cut his teeth and made his mark already, you know? So he went to doing these independent films and made in 1960, I think maybe it was shot in 59 or 60, but it was a quickie, Girl of the Night. Mm-hmm. It's really like when you watch it, you see it's one of those movies you can tell it was shot in like 8 days. You know, there's some flashbacks, but it's all framed as Call Girl shows up to, you know, they shot in the Bronx. Call Girl shows up to her therapist, and she's Call Girl's like talking about her traumas as a girl of the night, essentially, to Lloyd Nolan.
I really want to see it. It seems very proto Clute. It seems very proto Teddy Bear.
Yeah, Garga. You can get there's a Warner Archives DVD, and that's the thing. It was made independently. And he sold it to Warner.
Yeah.
How Teddy Bear happened in 65 is quite interesting, though. So while this was going on, he was still doing stuff for television, which was independent stuff. So he was doing international Showtime. His other big love was the circus, amongst magic, country western, comedy, all this stuff. But the circus, and the foreign circus in particular, he would go and do these international showcases. It was called International Showtime was the show. Timex. So you got Timex to underwrite it, and had this guy, Lawrence White, was helping with the money. And so that's what he was like going around the world. It would showcase like the Chinese plate spinners, and it would be like women of of international circus or whatever. That would be the subjects of. So he loved all these odd, unique acts, you know, and even on the home front, even in America, when he'd do his variety shows through the 70s, he kept Leslie Uggams in business. There were certain people he was very loyal to. She told me that he would, you know, call her up and go, Uggams, I got work for you. You know, like he kept Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira in business and kept them on the sort of his variety show circuit. Like so he loved unique acts like that. And, you know, but you really got that in the circus. So he was making these independent TV things, and that, like, in between just doing these exploitation movies, you know, Girl of the Night is much tamer. So then what happened is, this leading up to Teddy Bear in 65, Arnold Drake, who was Irvine Drake's brother, Irvine Drake being a major songwriter of Broadway. He wrote It Was a Very Good Year. You know, he wrote, you know, the music for What Makes Sammy Run, which was a production of my grandfather's that you see in Teddy Bear, that she goes through the backstage of it.
Which is based on fucking, what's his name? Bud Schulberg's autobiography, or like semi-autobiography about his experience, like, in Hollywood in the 30s and 40s.
Schulberg is amazing.
An amazing book. And he's an amazing writer.
Book is The Disenchanted. I have to recommend that if you haven't read that. That's his F. Scott Fitzgerald, like young man, old man of Hollywood, kind of like, you know, broken old, like, sort of casualty of the Roaring '20s period. And, you know, he's this washed up old writer. And it's meant to be F. Scott Fitzgerald. That is a great. But Schulberg's incredible. And
I mean, Face in the Crowd, like Waterfront.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, I feel like that's the thing with Schulberg is, like, if he hadn't been lifted up by the Kazan movies, you know, and Waterfront and everything, it's like, and Face in the Crowd, et cetera, like, you know, he would have just been written off as a pretentious pulp writer. But Kazan found something in those stories and elevated them, I think. Although he was a great, fun, punchy writer. So anyway, Irvine Drake, he wrote What Makes Sammy Run. He did Her First Roman and was the composer and lyricist for that. And that was like, you know, with Leslie Uggams, that was a big, like Broadway flop my grandfather produced. But so his brother is a guy named Arnold Drake. Arnold Drake, the weirder brother, co-created Guardians of the Galaxies, the comic books. And
created Doom Patrol,
Doom Patrol, and wrote for, like, Jerry Lewis Adventures comics, like a low-down comic book writer who then wrote, and I maybe produced as well, the first gore film to
Flesh
a lot
Eaters.
of people, the Flesh Eaters.
Yep.
He showed that to my grandfather. My grandfather, this is according to an interview that Shade Roop did with Arnold Drake. My grandfather was like, let's just do a string of these. Let's just do a bunch of these movies, sell off the television rights, own the film rights, and we'll be wealthy men in 10 years, That didn't end up happening. He said he just sent him off. The first thing he said, go write something like an exploitation film that leans in on shock value a little bit. Like, we'll sell this movie on shock alone. It'll have no stars, because he saw what this kid was able to do on the drive-in circuit, etc., and have some success with the Flesh Eaters, So he went off and he wrote Teddy Bear. He wrote 30 pages of Teddy Bear and then turned it into a script, like an outline of it, and then turned it into a script. My grandfather really liked it. And eventually he bought it, instead of going into business with him for like 5 pictures, he just bought that script from him and gave it to another guy who was, I can never say his name. It's like Leon Tolkien, the other writer of Who Killed
Tokatian, maybe?
Tokatian, yeah.
Tokatian, yeah. Leo Tokatian. That guy wrote for, craft suspense theater and the like. So that must have been a television connection for my grandfather. So he gave it some...
Give it the polish. Give it the respectability.
Suspense to it. And then Jan Murray, who was on the GI Bill with my grandfather taking acting classes, was punched up his own dialogue. And
cool.
Apparently
he's got some of the best lines of the whole movie. So that makes sense.
Some people think he's miscast, including Arnold Drake, who wrote the original. Goes, I never understood that casting of Jan Murray. I love Jan Murray as this character.
He's great in this.
He's so good.
Because he's the handsome but unreadable kind of male of that time, a little bit odd. So you understand just through the behavior of sneakily recording these sex victims, and listening back to those tapes and traumatizing his daughter in the other room who's listening to him. All of that stuff. Everyone is damaged and damaging others, but you realize he's in it. Like, that's what's also shocking about the movie, I think, is it's about Salminio's kind of a victim.
Oh, extremely.
He's a predator, but he's a victim.
It's so strange. Like,
same thing with Jan Murray. His wife gets into his wife was
victimized and raped and murdered, and
now he records and is obsessed with sexual perversion cases.
The movie is about this cycle, very much so.
I don't know if I know another movie where the movie really sexualizes Salminio. Thank God, correctly, I would say.
I was getting to that. So then it was meant to be a starless movie, and then it was like one day Arnold Drake just heard from my grandfather, we got Salminio. Salminio is part of it, and then he filled it out with everybody else. But and those are his real jockey shorts.
That's why get in 1965.
Salminio and jockey shorts. The reason why people it's an LGBT movie. Only recently, with this new edition of these 5 minutes, do we realize, oh, wait a minute. In the adult bookstore, Salminio pulls out that gay paperback, Beach Stud, and you see, oh, he's sexually confused. And now he actually is bisexual.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, like, I mean, the very first scene is first you have the Burt Bacharach scene.
Made it a gay obsession.
First you have the amazing Burt Bacharach song, a rip-off song, which I would suggest makes it already a queer movie. But after that, you have Salminio and his
tidy whities,
which I was like,
jockey shorts, and they were his.
Fanning myself.
Of course they were.
So you have that, but what I was going to say is, like, I'm not sure if I could think of another movie where the predator is the one who is sexualized by the camera so aggressively, and not anyone else. Even Juliette Prowse in the movie, who is the victim. Even when she's like in her bra or whatever, it doesn't feel tame. Particularly.
Yeah,
it's so tame.
He doesn't do the Vaseline on the lens in those moments. He does them on.
It's all about Salminio.
Books. Yeah, and Salminio, and it's not. You're right. The it's like there's a voyeurism around the voyeur. That's what's odd.
Yeah. It's weird. It feels weird. The movie feels very sexually frustrated and sexually frustrating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is a horny movie.
The opening shots, so all those like extreme close-ups on like Salminio's chest, the insane level of Vaseline on the lens. Not only the fact that there is Vaseline on the lens, but it is like caked on there in the most beautiful way possible. And these exceptionally like tight shots, stroking himself in parts of his body, and then the phone, and you get the like tight close-ups on
came
like
up with that. Mineo came up with all that behavior and, treated it professionally. And then my grandfather just sort of filmed around that with those tight shots and everything, and just based on just what he was doing.
It's so great. And then you get the tight shots on the like when she was bad and the rubber nurse and all of those like cool like amazing pulp. I like collect the shit out of those. And when I saw that when she was bad, I was like, I need to go buy a copy of that right now.
God, that song is so good.
Well, so no, the pulp book with that title on it.
Paperbacks or just any kind of sleazy old smutty paperback kind of.
I specifically collect a lot of old paperbacks, noir paperbacks, but especially anything that's like an erotica or like a lesbian erotica. I like have so many of those. It's like
I have a great one for you. It's called Hot Crotch Nurses.
That's a great title. Ooh, yes, please. But like all of those shots and all of that, like the like super tight, like because it's doing the structure of this movie is like the first like 30 to 40 minutes are we don't know who this is. It could be anybody.
Right.
On paper. And so it's setting this up. It's setting this up. Okay, he's the biggest name. Come on. It's setting this up as like we're seeing these little parts. We're seeing like the parts of the room, these little like fetish objects. And all of the way it's filmed is like a straight line from this to like Deep Red. And the way they shoot like the killer and the like toys and like it's identical.
So not only does the movie sexualize the predator, but the victim sexualizes him too. There's a great scene at the pool where he's in his Speedo and she's there too. And she's like, your body. I love a man who works out. And she not knowing that he's her stalker completely sexualizes him.
That's also another like the extended version of that scene. You see a lot of the schlong. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Like you see, it's first of all, he's half erect. Second of all, cut. You can fucking see it. It's insane.
Yeah.
And I don't know whose idea that was.
I love how much this movie gets at a very, very fascinating idea, which is Salminio is hot and outside of the psychotic nature of his character is kind and charming, and he like she's into him.
It sexualizes an incel. That's
but it also like before the kind of culture and concept of an incel is like you have like this man is mentally ill. He has a concept in his head about who this woman is, and that she'll never like him, she'll never accept him, and she'll immediately reject him. When like objectively she's into him.
That's insane. He's just a little off, and he can actually just connect with her in the end. It has to turn to what it turns to. And it's also shocking about, not to do a spoiler, but it's like there is a rape scene in the movie, is it's not the actual rape, which is photographed very tastefully, but the horror of it is the aftermath. He kind of like peels away from her, and he's all kind of like slumped over, and it's just the shame afterwards, but from the both of them, it's horrifying. That scene is that just the actual emotion afterwards and staying there in that moment is you don't get that in you don't that's movie. Not a moment that's like stressed in, say, Straw Dogs in that one. You know what I mean? Like it's shocking.
They're both so good in the movie.
And then they put it on the poster.
I know, why with every other slob but me. Yeah.
Anytime that anyone is dancing in this movie, I'm ecstatic. I love mid-60s dancing so much. And I love the scene where the two of them are dancing alone and he's wearing a slutty little crop top. It reminds me of the dancing from Band of Outsiders. To me, it feels like that iconic. You know what I mean? Like it is just such a good
even
scene.
When they're like, well, don't worry that he didn't come into work today because it's dead anyway. And there's like one couple dancing.
Yeah, I love that.
But they're great. Like, let them have fun.
So a couple of things there. What's interesting is the dancing. So Josh White, who's the Joshua Light Show. He designed the sequence in Midnight Cowboy, the flashing light, like fake, like,
Oh yeah,
inevitable sequence in that movie. But he was a producer on this movie because his dad worked with my grandfather on international Showtime for these foreign circus specials. And Josh White was the youngest producer. It was his first gig in New York. He was the one that told Joe, like originally in the script, she was Juliet Prowse was like, worked in like a belly dancing place, or she was a belly dancer or something like that. And then it shifted. He was like, no, she should be a disquette is what it was called. You know what I mean? Like one of these girls that's like at a discotheque where they're dancing. And he brought Joe around, and that's what they saw is these places where they were playing, pop records like New York Twist, these Twist records and everything, and doing the Frug and the Swim and I don't think the Watusi, but I don't know if that was East, but I have no idea. But so that's how that came to be.
It's a great way of time stamping the movie. I know.
Yeah, I mean the 60s were so perfect before the hippies ruined the vibe. I mean the aesthetic. Absolutely. The aesthetic of 1965 is like
65
so
is still, you're a year from 66, you're a year from everything getting
like the fashion of this
groovier,
so
you know what I mean? 96
yeah.
years is 66,
Yeah.
It's going to get a little looser then.
It's so funny to watch this movie and to see like both like it's very like classy 60s styles and aesthetics, and of course like these are a lot of like actors and performers from television and Broadway, so they're taking a lot of that like vibe and costuming with them, but it's things are a little bit like nicer and polished and put together, but like to the point that when you get down to like, oh, we're going to the little sex shops and the porno theaters, there's a like doorman to the porno theater, and I was like, beautiful. We used to be a society.
Very tame.
Exactly.
I did notice in the credits gowns by Orbox, which I always appreciate in this era. That's the Dark Shadows.
That. No, and the amazing thing about the content of the movie, what's so shocking about the movie is contextualized by just how tame the porn movies he goes to, even the adult bookstores where it's like, all right, we're mixed. It's these nudist.
You have Tropic of Cancer.
All these nudist magazines, Tropic of Cancer.
Last Exit to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like
it's like a dictionary. Fanny Hill. I mean, it's really very tame. Even they even have some of the weird like sexual perversion, like like psychology books that Jan Murray seems to have in the windows of that place, but those are undressed. Like they just slipped.
They just walked up.
$200 to the proprietors for them to go in and this handheld shoot those.
Well, I was thinking about speaking of that. I was thinking about recently we talked about The Bad Seed, which is earlier than this, but I was thinking about how people were so obsessed with like psychology during this era, and like the idea
completely.
that people were not necessarily born bad, which they had believed in previous eras, but that people could be made bad because they came from the slums or things like this. That was like kind of a new idea in the mid-century, and so like there was this huge trend of like these like pop psychology books.
These pop psych. I mean, that's Girl of the Night in 1960. Which is before Psycho and everything, but of course there are movies. It's like, what's that?
Psycho is in the mix of this too.
Or Lilith, like this is the year of Lilith, and I feel like those are kind of hand in hand. Also, Eleanor Bunnan did the credits to both Lilith and this movie. Great credit.
The credit design in this movie is so great, and it's one of my favorite 60s thing of like, you've got something happening, and then freeze frame, and then matte, and then circle, spotlight, and you're expecting them to like move. It is so Broadway. It has like a musicality to it, but it's such like a stark graphic nature, and it feels like the cheap end of what Saul Bass was doing for Hitchcock with like the Psycho credits and stuff like that. But so many 60s movies and TV shows do that.
No, but she's an amazing title designer. Awesome. There's a film set. The Eleanor Bunnan Film Center is in Lincoln Center. She's like an amazing title designer, but it is Saul Bassey. I mean, you're right about that.
Yeah.
As is the little credits are a little different, but back to the paperbacks. It really fetishizes paper pornography in a way more than it does the protagonist, more than it does Juliet Prowse, you know? And it's those moments where it's a Vaseline on the ones like, and how he caresses the paper, how just seeing when she was bad with the like sort of, the soft edges, like, it does it way before our generation did it. You know what I mean? And it's looking at old junk. And so it's interesting to think about. But when I started working at Norton when I was a teenager, and I worked there into my early 20s, which is, that's a record label. It's like a lot of like sort of like raw garage bands and girl group stuff and garage rock stuff and early rhythm and blues, like primitive early rock and roll, early rhythm and blues, rockabilly, all sorts of stuff that we'd reissue on 45s and LP comps and things, and albums, and sort of left the dial outsider, Hazel Atkins. We did the first like Hazel Atkins records and everything. But so Miriam, it turned out this was, first of all, the label is named Norton Records. I didn't realize it was, of course, named after who my grandfather cast Norton in The Honeymooners. But Miriam is a major, major force in the JD paperback world, and particularly, but she collects all sorts of dime store paperbacks since like the early 70s when she was the original drummer of the Cramps, and she was working at the Strand and picking up all these the junk paperbacks, and nobody wanted them back then. But so she had this giant. I helped her reorganize her insane paperback collection, but of course, this movie, this is like her favorite. The records are in their wheelhouse, but also within the movie. But it's like this was her Billy and Miriam's like favorite movie, and I only learned this from like working there. And
it's exceptionally fetishistic, of all of those objects, in a way that for someone like me who also collects those kinds of 45s and all those kinds of pulp books and sex books, it's like you're just salivating. And the way it's shot, especially with the new restoration on the new 4K from Cinematograph, all of those shots are like so well restored and look so good. It looks like this was shot yesterday.
It really does. It's amazing. How sharp the fine grain turned out to be when we found, when Joe Rubin found it at MGM, like we were just stunned. I was stunned to see, a company put out a couple of years ago, Network put out a Blu-ray of it, but they're a UK Blu-ray company. So you need a region-free player. But which I'm sure anyone who listens to this podcast has,
which I have two of.
The UK, you don't want the Blu-ray because it's the UK censored version of it. So that the bodies writhing around at the beginning, they just look like gray blobs, like they blurred it out and then redid the titles over it, and revamped it so it's just like completely unsexual. Like it's so butchered. But that's seeing that Blu-ray, it was the sharpest I'd ever seen the movie, and I saw how artful what Joseph Brun had done, he was a painter too. So there's a real painterly touch to the movie.
The cinematography
across the Everglades and a bunch of movies. But Crime.
Well, now we have a Blu-ray, and I know that
we have the actual Blu-ray. Yeah,
someone at TCM just messaged me and said that they have a bunch of screenings coming up of it, that they have licensed it.
Yes, I've been talking to them over there, and
that's so exciting.
And it's all across. We're slowly trickling out to all the regional rev houses and art houses and whatnot. So keep a radar.
Yeah.
Radar.
We have to talk about Elaine Stritch, though. I've never seen her this young. She still seemed pretty old.
Yeah. She still looks 45.
Yeah. I haven't seen her, I think she enters my consciousness with Company in the 70s. So it was new to me to see her this young. She's so great in the movie, of course, because she's so great in everything that she ever did.
She was doing more cabaret kind of stuff at that time and singing that kind of, like review stuff, Broadway a little bit. I'm not sure where her.
Yeah, I love her as like a smoking lesbian.
But in her biography, she talks about this movie and saying they were shooting in the winter, and it was like all these, TV stars like Dan Murray, who was like a major game show MC and everything, like all piling into and carpooling to set and being like, what is this thing why are all these people involved in this thing? Again, it was designed to be starless. It's a shocking independent film. Like, and it didn't get bought by Warner Brothers or anything. It was bought by Magna,
distribution. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
who then tried to burn prints of it. Like,
is that true?
That's true. Yeah.
Where did you hear that? That's new to me.
There's an interview on the new Cinematograph disc with.
Right, yeah, Liz. Where did she get that though?
That's not from Liz. That's from the founder of Strand releasing.
Oh, right, Mike Thomas. Sorry, that's from my interview with him. I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
But what did he say again?
Well, he was saying that he ended up working at a company that owned Magna in like the 70s or something. And that they were going to be taxed on their inventory. And so they're going to be taxed on every film print in their archive. And so they decided, well, just get rid of them then. Rather than pay for it, we have no interest in showing these again. No one wants these, whatever, junk them, toss them in the trash or burn them. And he seen Teddy Bear in the 60s.
He snuck one away.
He stuck one away in the trunk of his car. Yeah.
He saw it initially in 65. In 1970, and shooting it from 69, he made a Sure-Pix movie. Mm-hmm. Sure-Pix being a major lowdown exploitation company. He made a bisexual hustler movie called The Meat Rack, which I was wanted our special, now they're doing it for Vinegar Syndrome. I'm sure they're going to use the bonus features that I and use everything you talked about the Meat Rack for this bonus features of that. But I wanted to show them side by side because super inspired by Teddy Bear. And it's amazing to see a movie in 1970, we have this, it has a direct Midnight Cowboy connection with the flashing lights, and the flashing lights of Teddy Bear, and that being Joshua Light show. But to see this movie from 1970 is so deeply inspired by a movie 5 years before it was astonishing and this is they put something weird DVD out of it now. Vinegar Syndrome is going to do it, but there's these sequences of these very, very similar to Teddy Bear, these sort of sexual trauma flashbacks that you see of the main character as a kid, and they do all the kind of softening of the edges and all of that stuff. You see him going down instead of the New York old Times Square, sleazy Times Square, you're seeing the sleazy strip of
San Francisco,
and he's going in and seeing Attack of the Crab monsters or whatever it is.
I am so obsessed with that era of filmmaking and film love because people were ripping stuff off left, right, and center because they had to. But also, it's not like today where you could go pull a movie off the shelf or Google it and go find a million screenshots online or the script.
No, exactly.
To anything. And so people you also look at fucking Martin Scorsese with the way he talks about he had 2 film books that were about the history of film. Half of them, if not more, he had never seen in his life. He would just read about and see production stills and be like, oh, okay, I guess it looks like that. And you make up a thing in your head about it. Similarly with him, with Teddy Bear, it was before he got his hands on a print. So he saw it a few times in theaters and then it seeped into his brain. And he was obsessed with it, and he remembered it as well as he could, and then went off and made his own thing and was like, oh, we'll do it like Teddy Bear. But he didn't have actual tactile reference to go back to. Maybe he had lifted some lobby cards, maybe. But
we can imagine the books. If you were, it's amazing to me that whole generation. It's you can see it come out in a movie that last Woody Allen movie with Wallace Shawn, where it's it's just a couple of
Rifkin's Festival.
Yeah, and it's you remember 8.5, Summer of Monica, Dryer. The references are all the stuff that really, really, really traveled. 400 Blows, the stuff that really traveled over at that time of the early 60s that was influential for him. But those books, it's when you say Scorsese just had a couple books, we can imagine what those books are because we've seen them in a million junk shops and used bookstores and thrift stores. It's the same popular trends classics of the foreign film, that pictorial history by Parker.
I literally have that book. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Everyone does. But like, you know, and it has like the Eisenstein Potemkin shot on it. And like, you know,
I just love that they working off of those references and those inspiration points.
Of movies that people knew.
They were forced to allow it to mix in with their own subconscious and like blend in with their own personhood to then make the thing. Today, like I worked with so many filmmakers and so many production companies that literally they'll have like, you know, a PDF like of shots ripped from Shot Deck, and it's like, here's all of our shots, and we're gonna recreate all of these shots from Wong Kar-wai movies that look like this, and we're just gonna exactly whole hawk do it. And it's like, okay, but then it's not doing anything. It's not saying anything.
It hasn't actually walked over your unconscious. It's entirely a conscious influence. And beyond, and so this is what's really, I mean, we've really been robbed of our unconscious actually having any effect on, you know, and now people talk about, oh yeah, well, I was referenced by this and I took this from that. And that's sort of a post-Tarantino way of talking about movies and certainly your artwork, but you know, just like blatantly owning up to this is this and that is that, and I have this connection to it. This, it's like better not to know. But I found this really interesting. I'm obviously a big comics fan, and like I got this for $20 many years ago. I found someone had the papers of Alex Toth. It's like a letter he wrote.
Oh, cool.
But it gets into a little bit about old crime movies and trying to remember images and stuff. Then you go and buy stills. So he's just talking to a young fan of his named Bunky, and it's like Bunky is the guy's name, but he's talking about devices too. I just thought you'd find this interesting because it's all related to what we're talking about right now. What the hell does rosebud mean? They all know Kane said it. How? Took me almost 40 years, countless viewings to realize that the whole film is based on zero. Never happened. Not a zip. So there. Have I spoiled it for you yet? Now, Bunky, no. It amuses me now when I come to that shot, though. Good as it is. It's like a spin on Hitchcock's famous MacGuffin gimmick in plots. The little thing that isn't there, but who cares? Odd attitude like this, buying rights to books, gutting them, keeping the titles and them, the rewrites. Hold on. I'm just trying to find the part about audiences will remember what they see more than what they hear. As TV news directors have known and ruined in TV newscasting, standard for all time, horrendous crap. Hollywood, MTV, music videos are all built on that too. Comic books too, outrageous. So dependent on just graphics. We've lost our love, respect for language and all its countless subtleties of nuance, colors, tone, inflection, craft. Reading is too boring for many of our young, dumbing down America. But he says this thing about what you're talking about. So back to us, movie houses in the 40s, we'd nudge each other at every knockout angle, lit/composed shot. Yeah, remember that? Use it. You know, like for comics, you know, and then bring it into the genre comics they were working on commercially. You know, we'd pant, you know, youth juices. We had to develop good memories in those pre-TV / pre-videotape days. You know, he was even before TV. You know, we also bought movie stills by the ton for study, fun. Lots of guys swiped them cold. It wasn't kosher, I thought. So I didn't, but I'd study movement, expression, lighting, et cetera, from those photos. I just thought that was interesting to think about people working in genre comics being inspired by crime movies in that era and like nudging them, like, remember this, you know, or being able to go and buy, you know, still shops. I remember the last still shops closing just a couple of years ago. I'm sure there's some.
There's tons in LA. There's so many in LA.
There's so many in LA.
Hollywood Book and Poster in Burbank is like
it still
junkie
exists in LA, but in New York, there used to be, you go into these still shops and they would just, you know, for the younger listeners here, like, you know, there'd just be these, you know, filing cabinets, those like long filing cabinets, full of just alphabetically stars' names, titles, directors, singers, actors, whatever, you know, movie titles, and you could find just black and white cheap dupes, stills of whatever. So cartoonists would use it for their swipe file. They would call it a swipe file, or their morgue. You know, a morgue is like a cartoonist file of just stuff to swipe, essentially.
And I just think it's really important these days, especially as like I hate to bring it up every fucking episode, but the dreaded scourge that is AI is just dredging everything like with an empty, soulless glut. That like it's really important as an artist, as a writer, as an image maker, as anything, that we're like internalizing things and then using ourselves as a human filter rather than just like copy and pasting.
Exactly. And
but that's like to the point of like how he was able
to
like
use it if I need to figure out a pose for someone, a drawing of someone sitting in this way, and it'll just compose something for no, but composition is that has to come from the fucking human soul. It's just terrifying to even think like that we've given up. Oh, I'm just using it for reference, and it'll just like lay something out that I can't picture totally visual, like, and then I'll just use that to paint something or this. I just think even that is ghastly.
Yeah, when like you can find photos of people, you can go take someone and sit them down.
Exactly.
It's asinine. Anyway,
I'm not sure I understand the title and the backstory of Edie entirely, and how it created this. Or informed the mental illness
I think it's implied that she falls down the stairs in a way that gives her brain damage.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the beginning of it. Not only that, she catches him with his mother. It's Oedipal. You know,
is it his mother?
That's his mother?
Well, they flash back to it it starts with that you don't know, and then it flashes back later to he's playing with Edie. And she's a little girl. He looks exactly the same age, ironically. But
yes, they haven't aged him down at all.
What we can assume is the mom kind of comes by the door and gives him a look, and then he follows her to her bedroom, and then she runs up, and then that's how it happens.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot more sense because
he's damaged by his damage. It's just all damage.
I read Kyle Turner's essay in the Cinematograph disc, and I also watched Chris O'Neill's video essay, and they're kind of both being like, we don't know who this woman is, maybe she's a landlord, maybe she's a friend, and they're kind of like taking the like, we don't know, and it's like it's
a
babysitter. Yeah, I kind of read it as like a babysitter or something like that, but it could be read as the mom, but I
goes up to the bedroom of we can assume would be the mother's. You know, there's no other family in their house when you cut forward. It seems like maybe they just lived with their mother.
Yeah, and he kind of has a resentment around his parents' death. Additionally,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
But we never see Teddy Bear get murdered. We just see Teddy Bear's corpse to use a term, and then her questioning him about it. But like that's
the mother, that answers all of my questions. Because I was like, he's just fucking some broad. Why is that such a big deal? So that really does answer every question that I could have.
Well, I think it's implied that he's only a few years older than his sister, but it's muddied by the fact that they're just using him in the flashback looking identical to basically the same age
he looks pretty much identical. It looks like he hasn't really aged since he was a teenager, and we all know what Sal Mineo looked like as a teenager. And that's why
we all seen the movies.
He was on the ropes. He couldn't get work at that time. Paul came in for this movie from my grandfather, and he was not. When the phone rang, he was there to answer it. And what he said, it was a good part. But what has said was that the phone hadn't been ringing, and he was struggling because he had grown out of being the baby faced.
Yeah,
he was called the Switchblade Kid, and doing these JD movies.
But the crazy thing is that, like, at the same year, he's like, third banana, fifth down the call sheet on like the greatest story ever told, and Cheyenne Autumn, and he's like
Tonto.
He's like he's all like by this point in the 60s was like stock company player in all of those big like epics that were being made. Of like, we're making Exodus, so we need so many names that can go on the poster that people will just recognize. And Sal Mineo's a name, put him in the movie, he'll have a couple scenes, and he's never like used well in those movies, but he's there, and they put him in. Exodus, a movie that has aged like milk.
I gotta say, I think he's maybe the hottest a man has ever been in a movie. In this movie, except he's like up there with like Ryan O'Neal in the 70s and like
Josh texted me immediately after watching this movie and turned into a Tex Avery cartoon. He literally said awooga ahumana humana humana.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. I was like, whew. Wow.
They just put him in the tightest shirts imaginable.
Guys, all these queenie old guys at the every film forum Q&A we did was just like,
yeah,
old guys at the back of the film forum. Yes, Sal Mineo was just so hot in this movie. And
that's me. I'm that queenie old guy. I hate it. I don't want to be that queenie old guy, but I am.
Meanwhile, I mean, like he was just rumored to be gay, and Josh White, again, who I interviewed about producing this movie as like a 20-year-old or however old he was, I guess his apartment in the movie is featured somewhere. I can't remember if it's her apartment or, Josh lived in like a downtown apartment. And he had his job on the movie was to partially as a producer. My grandfather was like, spend time with Sal Mineo because there aren't any young people on this movie. Like you're the only young person. So he had Sal Mineo over one night and Sal Mineo kind of came on to him a little bit and was just like, are you gay? And this, and then he said, no. He was like, oh, that's okay. Da, 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 da. He just was like posted. He was completely comfortable, although it was not public. He was comfortable in the flesh with it, Yeah. Well, I mean, Sal Mineo also...
It's only hinted at in the movie, but then the distributors cut out the hinting of it, which is this paperback. It's kind of amazing.
The camera is so gay in this movie. I mean, your grandfather wasn't gay.
Exactly.
So it's like, where's this coming from? Where's this point of view coming from? Like, your grandfather was a married man with children.
Gay. Yeah, it's all a bunch of heterosexual, like crusty, old Jewish guys making it or whatever. Joseph.
This camera's at full mast, though. I gotta say.
But I think it's a really interesting concept. It's the antithesis of the Alfred Hitchcock, Brian De Palma way of shooting this kind of a thriller, which is like, let's take a hot lady and we menace her and we scare her up and we get her clothes off and she runs around and we shoot her in a way that makes her look hot. So we, as an audience, are interested in her plight. We take more interest in her because we have a prurient tie-in. Instead, this movie is like, this is a sex thriller, this is scary, and we're going to make you more scared of the killer by shooting him in a way that eroticizes him, which I find really interesting because rather than eroticizing the victim, even though you could say that everyone in this movie is a victim,
but
it's eroticizing the killer and the villain, which I think is a much more interesting and thematically weighty use of the camera in a film like this, and I haven't seen it replicated in almost anything else.
I'm trying to think, I'm in the most stock part of my brain,
other than maybe Windows.
No, well, my brain goes to Compulsion.
Yep, the Orson Welles, Leopold and Loeb.
Yeah, Richard Fleischer.
I haven't seen that. I can think of movies where the
I don't know if they're necessarily sexualized, but it's.
I can think of movies where you follow the killer, but But I don't think of movies where you sexualize them, right? There's plenty of movies like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, or
the one that I'm thinking of is The Boston Strangler with Tony Curtis. That seems like a perfect example of we've got Tony Curtis playing the Boston Strangler. Let's shoot hot, sexy fucking Tony Curtis shirtless, and then he can strangle some broads. And it's no, we're gonna make Tony Curtis bald and fat and ugly.
What is funny? It's there's all this proto Travis Bickle stuff in the movie, and the assistant camera was Michael Chapman, which is what's amazing. But,
holy shit! I didn't realize that.
Here's what's insane. But that's what is insane. I'm sorry, but what isn't original, what's very funny is Sal Mineo, who obviously worked with James Dean, the ultimate Marlon Brando impersonator. They have him in the streetcar shirt in those scenes with the sister.
They do, yeah.
They have him in the exact tight white.
Yeah. And those light denim pants, as tight as they could possibly be, brooding in the apartment. It's so hot. But I mean, Sal Mineo, to your point about James Dean and their bisexuality, both had questionable as questionable in terms of ethics and questionable in terms of did it really happen, affairs with Nick Ray on the set of Rebel. Like, it's famous,
and with each other.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's rumored that they had sex with each other.
but
too.
it's also like famously rumored that Nick Ray like seduced or like had like uncoerced or coerced sexual encounters with both of them and Natalie Wood, like throughout the production separately.
He was the original Larry Clark.
Oh Christ! But then claiming that Gloria Graham is fucking his son underage just because she
There's one
married
thing
him
I know
later.
from that Scotty Bauer book and documentary is that everyone in old Hollywood was gay and bi, and that they were all fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
At that gas station in Hollywood.
That's the story of Hollywood I know. I mean, yeah, I don't know any other story of Hollywood, really.
Before we get off Salminio, I just want to talk about his murder really fast because it's really fascinating and odd and interesting. Well, simply that, like, he was murdered. They claim that the murder was entirely, like, a mugging and financially motivated. And that the man, Lionel Ray Williams, that was arrested and then imprisoned for, like, 50-some years, has since been released and written a book proclaiming his innocence. And also has a documentary that came out like last year or something called Unseen Innocence about how he didn't murder Salminio and how he was racially profiled.
Interesting.
Which is insane!
But isn't there the rumor that he was like a jealous ex-lover or something too?
Yeah. Well, either that he was or that that Minio's killer was.
No, that Minio's killer was. I think
yes,
that
that
like potentially this guy was, I don't know. Here's the question: is that guy gay? The killer?
No, the Tyler Ray Williams, the Lionel Ray Williams. No, he's not gay.
I think he was could have been. Not. I'm not trying to get into the paranoid conspiracy theory section of the show yet. You guys like that to be the last 5, but like it could have been that he was gay, slept with Minio, and Minio was going to blackmail him or something and killed him. I don't know.
It seems more likely to me that both situations happened, which is that Minio's ex or maybe a hustler who was owed money killed Minio, and then the cops were like, yeah, there's a black guy that's delivering pizzas down the block. Let's pick him up. Because Lionel Ray Williams was a pizza delivery guy that like served that area. And so it's also possible that like that happened and they didn't even care to look into the gay angle, or were too like, oh, these queens are just killing each other. Who gives a shit? Like,
you can always count on the LAPD to be racist and homophobic
at the same time, and also inept.
You know what's shocking is because like he was doing so much in that time, in that era.
He was on Ellery Queen. Like,
yeah, he did so much great stuff and was like really. Actually, my grandfather got him in the second cast of What Makes Sammy Run, which is featured and you see it on
on the marquee in Teddy Bear.
You see her go in the back of the theater. So he did in 1969. You should see this on YouTube. It's amazing. Someone uploaded a 16 millimeter print in 1969 of this Lost for 50 years, 15 minutes in length. A sample of this controversial John Herbert play, Fortune in Men's Eyes.
I know Fortune in Men's Eyes. Yeah. Josh, have you seen the film?
Minio discovered.
Oh, that's for you.
Get ready for this. Minio discovered and mentored Don Johnson in it.
Wow.
So you see him acting with Don Johnson and someone else. But so that's on YouTube. It's worth just punching in Sal Minio, Fortune in Men's Eyes.
Josh, for you, Fortune in Men's Eyes is a really famous gay prison drama that's like extremely sexually explicit. I want to say Warner Brothers or MGM put the movie out.
Oh, really?
It's probably pretty censored. It's extremely hard to find. There is like one VHS tape. I think you would really love it. It is very proto many things. It's very Jean Genet kind of like. It's really really good. Yeah, Salminio's death is tragic and fucked up that it's not like properly solved, and that it has also potentially caused further pain in the world. And this is not a true crime podcast into the death of Salminio. It's just should be noted, because I don't know when we're going to talk about Salminio next ever on this podcast.
Well, have me back then. I'll do some more homework on the deaths.
Listen, speaking of unsolved murders, let's play Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this film. Right. I thought of Natalie Wood, of course, because she was in Rebel Without a Cause with...
And also has a famously mysteriously murdered death.
Yes.
I
may have been murdered.
That she's seen it. No, I don't.
You don't think that she saw Who Killed Teddy Bear?
I cannot imagine her.
This is not a movie with a premiere. This is just a movie you open. And I don't think she would have.
She hung out with a lot of gay men. So, Boys in the Band, the apartment from that play and film is based on Natalie Wood's apartment in the West Village.
But it was a secret they were gay, and they were secretly going to this movie still,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think the way... I can't even imagine Salminio telling his friends he was in this movie.
It seems like he liked the movie.
Even though he's like the biggest name in the movie, his face isn't on the poster. Yeah, it's his back. It's very like, it's like, I guess he's in it. I mean, it does seem like,
I think he's seen it.
I think he definitely saw it, and he definitely attended screenings and whatnot. I don't think he was calling up.
It's the movie that officially put him on the weirdo list, is how he phrased it.
Yeah, they kind of pigeonholed him in a way. But I mean, a good performance will do that. Unfortunately,
that's great.
I also don't see the only way I could see Natalie Wood seeing this movie would be with him and to support him. I can't imagine Natalie Wood being into this genre. Isn't
with the casting playing with his Play-Doh character, and Rebel.
Oh, very much so. You could see this as however, you could ask a separate question about Natalie Wood's husband.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Probably more likely. Granted, he's had more time.
Yeah, that's true too.
So this is such iconic, on the streets of New York, sleaze filming. And Owen, to your point about Michael Chapman and the taxi driver visual connection is so strong and so apparent, and it kind of feels useless to ask if Martin Scorsese has seen it, because he's seen everything, and of course he's seen this. So I think it'd be more interesting.
He had, you know what I mean? Did he own up to anything? No, I definitely want. My question is if Schrader saw it.
That's what I was about to say. Schrader's the more interesting one, because Schrader is this character. Schrader is the religiously sexually repressed.
Jacket. He wears the that classic where it's the wool collared, jacket of Travis. Or no, it's I guess Travis is in a fucking army jacket. Now that I think about it. But he's walking around cold, with a jacket that isn't really appropriate for the winter time in Times Square, in sleazy old Times Square, popping into adult movies and bookstores and everything. I mean, it's not like that. That isn't a type of incel that Schrader would know intimately and have seen around and probably in the mirror. But it probably comes from an organic place, but I wonder if it was in his unconscious. I don't know.
Schrader saw this. I'm going to say it. I think he's a yes.
I mean, also knowing Schrader's buddy friendship with De Palma beforehand, I feel like this is the kind of movie that De Palma would have a print of.
Can you think of a movie between those roughly 10 years between this and Taxi Driver? Can you think of another movie with an adult bookstore featured in it or anything like this?
Telephone Book?
That's interesting. I like that movie. That's also...
I will also say Telephone Book was maybe the biggest influence on the design of the poster for Funny Pages.
Oh!
The tagline... I wrote the tagline for the Funny Pages poster, which is directly the Telephone Book tagline.
I was thinking too of Doris Wishman movies.
Oh yeah, you're right. The world's greatest obscene phone
call. Yeah,
great.
and New York's what is it? New Jersey's next great comic book artist and biggest dick.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I will also say that I wrote that line originally because the poster was going to be much more of a phallic concept. It was like him standing alone.
Oh,
with,
like the telephone.
with text bubbles around, with comic like
Who
text
shot
bubbles
that down?
around him.
Who shot that down?
I assume A24 because we did a bunch of concepts like that, and it was like he literally had like we took down whole lines from the movie and
I
wrote
would
them
love
into text bubbles going over his head that turned him into a phallus, that turned those into like, you know, testicles, just like that, except it was much smaller in the frame with all the negative white space around it.
You know who's in Telephone Book, if I remember correctly, is
what's her name from an Unmarried Woman?
no,
Joe Clayburgh.
Joe Clayburgh. But I mean, yes. Who?
Yeah, Ultraviolet.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Telephone
Who,
Book is
by the way, you know,
best.
there's a weird mystery with Ultraviolet and the movie Hot Parts. I don't know if you know this. I have the soundtrack to it. You can find the soundtrack almost at any you know, record store in New York or LA. Like I see it all the time, but there's no movie. You can't find the movie. And the soundtrack, the Left Bank, one of the songwriter of the Left Bank, Steve Martin, Steve Caro Martin or whatever, did the music. It's great. It's a great score. It's great. Some original songs in there. But this movie doesn't exist. It's like, and Hot Parts is like a fake Warhol movie, apparently. Like they tried to make it seem like it was a Warhol movie, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? I think she's one of those people, like she was sort of a superstar, kind of half in, half out. Like it's not clear if she was, but I hope one day we'll be able to see Hot Parts.
Interesting. Owen, do you have anyone for Have They Seen It?
Have they seen it? Well, Nelson Lyon. I'll bring him up.
Nelson Lyon.
He directed Telephone Book.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I would say absolutely.
Because it's an obscene phone call movie. So
these
When
would make
did that come out?
71.
71.
Yeah.
I think yes.
And we know that Steve Martin has seen Telephone Book famously.
That's true. And he worked with Joe. I don't know if he's seen Teddy Bear though. I can't say.
Possibly. Granted, Telephone Book is a fucking comedy and a real fucked up weirdo comedy that it makes sense that he would have seen.
Yeah. I was thinking of the mask in that movie. Isn't he wearing like a pig mask at one point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Josh, you've seen Telephone Book?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. I've got the one sheet. I need to put it back up. It used to hang in my bedroom for years. I love the character who's got like the quarters on his belt.
Yeah.
And the little like change thing, who will only give them out to her if she tells him more about herself, and him just like slapping through them at the restaurant is so goddamn funny.
They did really well on Telephone Book. Vinegar Syndrome.
It's the first thing that got me. It was the first Vinegar Syndrome anything I was aware of and that I bought. It was a very, very early release from theirs. It was on Netflix. Like yeah, the pig mask, the like pop art, like wallpapering in that movie, the animated like final reel. That movie is one of my favorite, most like influential movies ever. And it kind of does feel like the goofy B-side to Teddy Bear, where like Teddy Bear is like the dark fucked up version, and then Telephone Book is the like slipped on a banana peel one.
Here's someone, Ray Dennis Steckler, because you know he definitely saw Teddy Bear because. First of all, that's the kind of movie he would have seen.
Oh yeah,
and Rat Finka Boo Boo, the original beginning of that movie is like it's like a weird phone caller. It's like an obscene. I think it's an obscene phone caller at the beginning of the movie.
We need to bring obscene phone caller movies back.
They just abandoned that, and it becomes a superhero pair, a Batman and Robin pair.
Yeah, I've always meant to see Rat Finka Boo Boo, and I never did.
You should get that new box set.
Yeah, it was always in like those cult film books that I grew up on too.
Yeah,
and I never saw it.
And the classic story, you know, it was meant. Sometimes it's titled what was meant to be titled, like on the VHS tape of it, like the big box VHS tape. It was like it's Rat Fink and Boo Boo, but that you know, and it's proudly boasts of like it won the Golden Turkey Award of like one of the worst. It's like always like in those books, like the worst of like the worst movies ever made, and it boasts that. But the reason it's called Rat Fink a Boo Boo on on the movie in the titles is because the optical lab fucked it up. But he just liked it. They thought it just sounds like a go-go. It sounds like
a go-go. We should be saying a boo-boo more. But
Matt think that boo-boo is just a better title. It's just he's just like, this is great. This is fine. He didn't make him redo
it. Thank you so much, Owen. How can people check out your work? I mean, people can rent Funny Pages.
Well, they can go to the New Beverly to see Funny Pages.
They can also
you can go to the New Beverly. I feel funny, promote. I'm here to promote Teddy Bear. I only really like to do a podcast to promote something. So I'm here promoting Who Killed Teddy Bear, which is playing the 6th and 7th at the Los Feliz. Is that what it's called? That theater in LA?
Los Feliz.
Yep. Los Feliz.
Los Feliz 3.
Can't say Los Feliz.
No, literally no one in LA can either.
Los Feliz. Yeah, exactly. So it's playing there because of the great American Cinematheque, and it's our new really struck print of this director's cut of Teddy Bear, 5 new additional minutes. Looks incredible. It's playing there. It'll be playing around the country and world very soon. We're booking it left and right. And then, Funny Pages can be seen, I feel funny plugging a rep, my own movie as a rep screening, but it's cool that it's playing the New Beverly. It's playing on film on its 35 print with Friendship the 16th and 17th.
Yep. Cool. So if you're in LA, you got time to go make it. That's a painfully funny double bill that I cannot recommend. However, sure. I'll probably be there also.
Me too. Drusilla, where can people follow you?
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. Nothing super new up there, but there's a shit ton coming. You can also follow me Instagram at sisterhide, and on Letterboxd if you look for Drusilla Adeline or Sister Hyde, you can follow me over there and see that I've been watching the Danny Boyle pubic shaving hypno thriller trance. An underrated gem. What about you, Josh? Where can people call you?
Currently just on Letterboxd. I'm social media free, basically. So
Brill.
Good
for you.
On Letterboxd. And nothing to plug. I'm not doing shit right now. So here. Also, I should also say you could email us at bloodhauspod@gmail.com. Anyway, Owen, thank you so much again. What a treat to talk to you about this wonderful film that I now love so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
And I'm in love with it, truly. And Drusilla, what are we watching next week?
Next week, we are taking a trip of madness and waterlogged horror out to Mark Jenkins' lo-fi masterpiece that is Enys, Maine.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Bye. Owen, thank you again.
Yep.